Welcome to the Code with Jason meetup. I'll share my screen and show what we're going to be working on today. So, the last couple sessions we've been working on this filter to filter the builds. In Sanjit, I don't know where you last saw it, but it is completely functional now. If we check past and click apply, then we only see the past builds, and same thing with failed. So that's all good. But I'm not quite happy yet with the styling of the form. And so that's the current task, is to get the styling at least to a decent place.
So didn't you say you wanted it to work without clicking apply?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Or
I
you
think
have
that'll be the very next thing.
very next. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So let's see here. Just looking at my diff from last time, because the only time I ever work on this project is during these calls. Okay. I took
Oh,
away some.
Jason, sorry, I might have to take a call. Okay, I'll be back shortly.
Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So I took away this build filter form styling for whatever reason, and I added this stuff. I'm actually just going to blow all of this away. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Okay. I'm going to go to this new file here. Okay. And at least for the moment, I'm going to get rid of this too. Hey, Sahil.
Hello.
Long time no see.
Yeah, I was traveling to Ireland.
Oh, nice. How's Ireland?
Like Ireland, fortunately, it was sunny for us most of the days. Not so much rain. Oh,
Oh,
that
that's
was good.
good. Okay. Yeah, I've never been to Ireland. I'd love to go sometime. Where in Ireland did you go?
We went to Dublin, and then we went to down Cork, Cliff of Moher, and then we were just going around smaller settlements.
Okay. And you live in Germany, right?
Yes,
Yeah, how far of a trip is it from Germany to Ireland?
it's I think 2.5 hours flight.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just explaining to Sanjit Sahil um that what I'm working on right now is there's this filter to filter the builds by passed or failed and by the branch also. And it works, but I'm not too happy with the styling yet. So that's what I'm working on now.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what it looks like with basically no styling. This is some of the
Mhm.
styling that I like experimentally added last time. Well, there's just a border and that's all. Okay. Okay, so let me pull up the the HTML for this. Okay. So one thing I definitely want to do is add some spacing between branch and the checkboxes and apply. So let me do that. Okay. That's kind of an improvement. Now we have this problem. I pointed this out last time. These checkboxes aren't grouped with their labels very well. Like this checkbox for passed is just as close to the label for failed as it is to the label for passed, maybe even closer actually. And that's really not appropriate. We want a clear grouping with of the labels to their checkboxes. So let's do that somehow. I think one experiment I did last time was I just added a break here. Oh, and that, to my surprise, doesn't do anything. Welcome, Brett.
Hey.
Is this your
I
first?
think I know the reason for that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
This is my first time.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, because this is the loop. I didn't put the break inside the loop. Yeah, there we go. But that's not exactly how I want to do it. I want them to be on the same row. So maybe let's do something like this. And by the way, Brett, just to catch you up, today I'm working on this filter form. It can filter between past builds and failed builds. And as you can see, it works, but I'm not happy with the styling yet. So I'm fixing the styling. And by the way, where are you located,
Cool.
Brett?
I am now in Bangkok,
Oh, wow.
Thailand.
Okay. How
Yeah.
long you been in Bangkok?
I was in London when I signed up for your thing, but I just moved to Bangkok.
Okay. Why'd you move to Bangkok?
My husband started a job here, so I followed him.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah. If anyone knows any jobs in Bangkok, let me know.
Yeah. I think I know more than 0 Americans living in Bangkok. I take it from your voice that you're American.
I am an American, yes,
Yeah, where are you from
but
in the
I haven't
US?
lived in. I grew up in Texas, but
Okay.
the last time I lived there was 2000, so I haven't lived there in a
Oh,
while.
okay. Yeah, I lived in Austin for a bit. Where in Texas did you live?
I lived in Austin from
Oh, okay.
91 to 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, I lived there from 2007 to 2009. Really liked it.
Yeah, Austin's cool,
Yeah.
but most of my family are in Dallas. So
Okay. Okay. So back to these checkboxes. How do I make the checkboxes themselves grouped more closely with the labels? Let's see. So I'm going to go inspect so I can see, okay, the label element extends no further than the actual text. And the checkbox, it looks like it might have a tiny amount of margin. And then there's some space between the label and the input for whatever reason. And I don't really know why. What if I take away the margin just experimentally? Okay, that didn't seem to do anything. Oh, okay, it took away a little bit. All right, yeah, so let's do this. So we can call this, I don't know, a checkbox container. Okay, and we can say margin 0. And that appears not to have done the trick, so I must have made a mistake somehow. Oh yeah, checkbox container input. That's what I want. Okay. And actually, I think I only care about the left and right margins, not the top margin. I want to keep the top margin. Okay. And then to the container itself, I think I want to add a right margin. Try 10 pixels and see how that looks. That's too much. Okay. And to my eye, these checkboxes actually look a little too high up. Why did that happen? Did this affect anything? No? Okay. So let's see, what's the best way to scoot those down a little bit? Maybe we can say position. Is position top a thing? No. Let's do padding top. That didn't seem to do it. Okay, let's do margin top. I'm just going to do a really noticeable amount. No, that doesn't do it either.
I think it does, because now what you're doing is margin top 10 for the input. Wait. Oh, maybe. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay.
But label should not be covered inside the input.
Oh, wait, I think I remember how to do it. Whoops. Position relative. Top. I'm just going to do 5 pixels, even though I know it's too much. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do 1. Okay, that looks pretty decent to me. All right. And I do want to label on this whole thing, saying like build status, I think. So let's add that. Build status. Okay. And now this thing that says build status is just a little too close to past, because past and failed are spaced from each other a certain amount, but then past and build status I think should be at least the same spacing away. So let's change the margin on this. Let's just change it to margin 6 pixels. Whoops. Okay. I don't hate that, but I don't love it either. It maybe seems like just a little bit too much spacing now, actually. Let's try 4. I think I want more spacing between build status and the checkboxes. No, that's not what I want to do. Well, let's see what happens. That didn't seem to do. Oh, because margin overrides it. Yeah, okay. Checkbox container. Margin left and margin right. I don't think this is going to give me what I want, though. Maybe that actually is good. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. I think with some of this stuff, like you have to set it down for 24 hours at least and then come back with fresh eyes and look at it. Also, I experimentally added this border and I kind of forgot that I added it. Okay, so I'm gonna address these things one at a time. So I was trying to style the checkboxes, and I feel like that's in a decent place for now. So let's commit that. Oh, and I just noticed something that I don't want to commit. I don't want to commit this empty thing here. Okay. And what exactly am I doing? What did it look like before? Okay. So it went from this to this. So I'm going to say improve styling. Okay. And now, Sanjit, if you're back from your call, you and me were talking earlier about how I don't want to have to click apply after every time I click something. I want it to submit automatically. And also, there's a bug that I just remembered. I think if you select a branch and then click apply, yeah, it just goes back to having no branch selected. Like the filter works, but then it doesn't keep the branch selected. And also there's nowhere to clear the selection. But let's fix this. Let's fix this bug with the branch name clearing. So let's add a test to capture that one. All right, so let's find the right location on the file system here. Maybe it's in spec builds. No, I don't see it here. Okay, spec builds, build list, build filter. Okay, apparently that's where it is. Okay, so we have branch spec and status spec. All right, so I think we want to add something under branch filtering. Okay, so the test we have right now, context main branch, it only shows builds from the main branch. Includes all branches as an option, even after selection. Okay, and I think I want to make these clear. Should say main branch is selected. I think that would be clear. Filters branch is selected. Okay, and I'm gonna commit that so it doesn't get mixed in with whatever we do next. Improve test descriptions. Okay. Now we want to add one. Maybe we can say after. Oh no, hang on. Main branch is selected. It only shows builds from the main branch. It includes all branches as an option even after selection. And I think we want to add a case that says it retains main. No, it keeps main selected. I think that's what we want. Okay. And I see we have a bit of duplication here. I'm going to move this to a before a before thing. That'll make sure these existing tests still pass. Okay. Now, I don't know what to put here. Expect the select input to have main selected. So I'm going to give this to ChatGPT. And then I'm going to also show it the filter markup. And I'm going to say, help me write the missing test. Hopefully it's smart enough to figure out what I mean by that. Okay. Looks like it is. So let's see if that works. And if this works, the test should fail. But it doesn't fail. All right, let's check something.
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah. Whoops, not show browser, show browser. Okay, so I can see that main is absolutely not selected. Okay. Yeah, I think this test is wrong. I think there is a race condition here. Which I will demonstrate presently. Okay. So if the test runner clicks the apply button, which is the very next thing that happens in this test, if it clicks apply, the very next thing that happens is it expects this branch name select to have main, which it still does if we just wait an infinitesimal amount of time, then this select input will not have changed and the test passes. So we have to wait for the page to reload before we make the assertion. Okay, and the question is, how can we enforce that?
Do we really need to wait for the page? Because what you want to test is that keeps main selected even after the reload.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Maybe we can borrow from one of these. Okay, so this is okay, this filter commit thing, I think that's less clear than it could be. I'm going to change this to say commit from filter branch. Okay, and then main commit, I'm going to change that to say commit from main branch. Okay, something I talk about with my consulting clients a lot when I'm helping them with testing is that it means a lot for a test to be easily understandable. And my experience, very few developers make an effort to make their tests easy to understand. And to be fair, it's really not easy to make tests easy to understand. And in my experience, most people don't know how. But this is an example of one little thing that can be done to make it easier to understand. Instead of saying filter commit, because it's like, what does filter commit mean? We can say commit from filter branch. I think that's a little more clear. Okay. So I'm going to expect this not to have this commit from the filter branch. And I think that should take care of our race condition. Let's see if I'm right about that. Okay. The test fails now. All right, so now how do we write the code to make it pass? And by the way, the red and red-green refactor, the reason for that is to test the validity of the test. And just now, I tested the validity of my test, and turns out my test was not valid. And so that was a useful step. Okay, so how do I make this work? Let's go to the build filter component code. But maybe that's not the right place to apply the fix. Maybe it's here. Options for select branch names. Okay. Okay. I'm going to ask ChatGPT, how do I make the code work? No, this is like not what I'm after. All right, I'm going to show it this. Actually, I'm going to show it this. I'm going to show it that I have the test now. I'm going to show it the markup. I'm going to show it this code. And I'm going to show it my failing test output. How do I make it work? Now I think it'll have a better chance of understanding. I think it's still not quite getting it. All right, never mind. Let me figure it out myself. All right, so let me go to the controller to which this form gets submitted, which is the jobs controller. Okay, it's creating this build filter component. Yeah, I think the controller is irrelevant actually. And what is the problem? The problem is, oh yeah, the problem is that when I do that, the item's not selected. So I just need to change this so it says that the current branch name is selected. And how do we know the current branch name? Oh, I don't think we do. Okay. Yeah, here in this build list, we have the branch name, but not down here. And why are we passing branch name to build list? Oh, so it can filter. Okay. Okay, let's pass branch name to here. And why is this getting the build list? It doesn't need that. Okay, job and branch name. Okay. But I don't know how to say that I want the current branch name to be selected. So I'll ask ChatGPT for help with that. I want to tell the select input to select branch name. Branch name's branch name. Okay. Okay, now let's see how the test behaves. Passes. Now I shall manually test it and see what happens. Okay, looks like it works now. Wonderful. Okay, let's pick. Build status filter. Okay. Yeah, clearly this works. Wonderful. Run all these tests in this file and see if they pass. Okay. Now I'll review my changes. I don't see any surprises here. All right. Fix branch selection bug. Now, I think my biggest defect now is that there's no way to clear the form. So let's add that. Okay, so we have this build filter, branch spec, build filter status spec. Do I want a whole separate test for clearing the selections? Or do I want two separate tests? One that asserts that the clear button clears the branch, and one that asserts that it clears the checkboxes. I think I just want one. Okay. So this test is for clearing filter selections. It clears branch selection. Start with that, I guess. Okay. And you know what? Before I do that, actually, there's something else I want to do. Okay, so this test is noisy. See all these withins? I don't really like that. It might be nicer if I could say something more like this. Instead of this here, might be nice if I could say expect build list not to have commit from filter branch. Or just have content is fine, I think. Yeah, so then we could have that instead of this. And it'd be a little bit less noisy. But how do we accomplish that? So this doesn't work. So let's do this. Let build list page objects build list dot new. Okay. And are you guys familiar with the concept of page objects?
I have to say I'm not.
Okay. Yeah, page objects are interesting. The name is a little bit misleading because it's not an object that represents a page, it's an object that represents part of a page.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking right now, and the reason for having these page objects is to abstract away some of the distracting little incidental details of tests. So I have some page objects already. It might be easiest to explain via example. Okay, so I have this page object for something called a build link. Let's see where that's used. Okay, so apparently I'm using it here. It's build link 1 and build link 2. Okay. Yeah, so I'm like clicking these build links and expecting them to be active or not active. And it's active if the CSS classes include active, and if it's not, if it doesn't. So this is kind of noisy here. Before I added this page object, I happen to remember these tests were really noisy. I can maybe even show you guys. Okay, yeah. So see the difference here. The white is the before and the blue is after. You can see the before version was very noisy.
Yeah.
The page object allowed me to abstract away those incidental
Complexity.
details.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you look at this, the burden is on you to look at the details and synthesize the meaning. But here, the code took on the burden for you, and you don't have to do that mental work of synthesizing the meaning. All you have to do is read this and see, oh, we're clicking it and we're expecting it to be active. If you want to know exactly what that means, then you can drop down and look at this lower level code. So that's the benefit of page objects. Let's add one here. We're going to call it build list. Oh, I actually want this other page object so I can reference it. Okay, and I'm going to run the test again. See what errors it gives us. It's probably going to tell us that build list doesn't exist. Yep, uninitialized constant, page objects build list. So let's create it. Okay, now that error will at least go away. Oh, and it passes? That's surprising. Okay. Let's convert this one also. I'm skeptical that it's actually working, but we'll address that in a second. Okay. So it may just be that this expectation just always returns false. Should probably expect that it does have the commit. Okay, let's reformulate this. So it shows builds from the main branch and does not show builds from, whoops, any other branch. Okay, let's see if that passes or fails. Okay. Either that fails because the page object isn't working, or it fails for a different reason. But let's see. I suspect it's because of the page object. Okay, let's see if that behaves properly now. Okay, it does not. So let's see. Excuse me. Show browser equals true. I can't believe none of you people blessed me after I sneezed.
Oh, you know
I'm-
what? I said bless you, but I was on mute. So bless
Oh.
you, Jason.
Okay. Because I was concerned that my soul had escaped my body, and now I'm just
Let us
fucked.
come back now. Let's come
Yeah.
back now.
Okay. Okay. So it's expecting commit from main branch, and I see that it's here, obviously. But then expected to find text, blah, 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 but it didn't. So something is happening. And I also just remembered that we're missing this within thing. Because we only want to be dealing within the context of this build list. So let's add a binding.pry there and see what's going on. Oh, it didn't even get there. Isn't that interesting? Okay. So what I was expecting is that this have content line would match up to this has content predicate method, but that's not happening. So let's take an even closer look. So build list, that looks like the right thing. Build list dot has content commit from main branch. Undefined method within. Okay, let's fix that. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, yeah, okay. 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 So this is working. It does have the content of commit from main branch. It's just that something's not wired up properly. And just as a sanity check, if we do this, does that pass? Okay, it does. So our page object works fine. And this assertion works fine. We're just using it wrong somehow. I'm gonna run it one more time so I can see the failure message. Okay. And perhaps this is a clue where it said expected to find it in $. That's interesting. Okay. So I'll ask ChatGPT why this is failing. And for some reason, I have a hunch that it won't be helpful, but let's give it a try anyway. Yeah, not helpful, ChatGPT. All right. So let's see. Maybe there's something I don't understand. Maybe I don't understand how this have content thing works. Oh, let me try something. Expect build list dot has content commit from main branch to be true. Let's see if that passes. What's happening? Syntax error somewhere. Yeah, missing a parentheses. Okay. So that passes, but the very next line fails. So it seems like it must be a syntax issue. No, I think it's a, oh, isn't this interesting? ChatGPT suggested the same test. I think it's a syntax issue. The first expect passes, but the second expect fails. And it's frozen. All right, let's race ChatGPT and see if we can come up with the answer first. Oh, here we go. Okay, direct Boolean check, capybaras are spec matchers. Oh, okay. So we can't use something that says has content because that conflicts with RSpec's or capybara's native matchers. Okay. What if we try to change this to expect build list to have commit? Okay, great. So let's change all those. I'll run all the tests. Oh, we get some failures. Okay, interesting. Okay, and this fails. All right. Okay, so it does not have that content. Okay. I think we might have another race condition on our hands. But this is interesting. I wouldn't think that there would be a race condition. Well, I think now because we're using has commit instead of has content, it's not waiting like it normally would. Okay. So I think my attempt at a page object here, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, as they say. But I still don't like how noisy this is. Maybe we can do it a different way. Let me see. Maybe there's just no getting around it. I can't think of a better way. All right. Well, sometimes you try an experiment and it fails. Get clean. There. What? Okay. Okay. Now we can return our attention to this clear button test. And by the way, just because an experiment fails doesn't mean it was a waste of time. Now we know that this is probably just the least worst thing and we don't have to wonder because we already tried to address it somehow. And we can try again in the future if we have a better idea. Okay.
I've used page objects a few times, and yeah, they tend to, I don't know. I think there are a lot of over engineering sometimes.
I can see how they could be. Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where you have to be really careful and really honest with yourself. And when you're done, say, is this really better? And if it's not actually
Yeah.
better, just go back, which is honestly something a lot of people aren't willing to do.
I think part of my problem was also I was the only one on the team using page objects, and no one else was. So they were kind of like, "Why are you doing that?" And they didn't see the benefit. So it just made it like, you know, some of the tests were using page objects and some of them weren't. It was annoying.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I can.
that was probably more a team thing than just problems with page objects. But I think I think general consensus that was too much and just.
Yeah,
But
the
I like
problem is
them.
always
I think
people.
conceptually I like them. Yeah, people.
Yeah, programming would be so much better if we didn't have to deal with all the people. Okay. So let's get some branches going here.
You ever use Site Prism?
No, and I never will.
Yeah, that was probably the other mistake, was using an overly engineered solution.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember. Let's just take a quick look. Site Prism page
I mean,
objects.
it made it really easy to set up page objects, but then, it just wasn't clear to people. I think if you have the actual page object code in with your code, then it's easier for them to go look at it and go, oh yeah, okay, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it just seems like way more than what's needed. Like my page
Yeah.
objects are like,
It really is, but I was
yeah,
younger
like
then.
you don't need all that crap. Okay. So,
Yeah, I would not recommend it.
dear viewer, don't use Site Prism. It sucks. No offense to whoever made this thing. Okay. Okay, so we're going to make a selection. By doing this. And even though this doesn't really do anything yet, I'm going to run it just to see if it functions, and it does. Okay. And after the selection gets applied, I want to click clear. But if I just do this, we'll be susceptible to a race condition because we don't know if the page has loaded yet. So we have to add something. I'll add a comment here to prevent race condition. I usually do that. And I'll actually do it on this other one that I did too. Okay. Now I expect this to fail because we don't have a clear button. By the way, my wife texted me and she said, can you end right at 10? So I will have to promptly end at the end of the hour. Okay, so it says unable to find clear button. Not surprising. So we can add a clear button here. And then the test will probably not fail for the same reason. Okay, so now we want to expect that it does have this this commit. And I expect that this test will fail. Okay, let's see what we get. I'm confused. Expected to find, oh yeah, okay. Expected to find it and it didn't. Yep, that's what I expected. All right, so now let's make this clear button work. How do we do that? Let's ask ChatGPT. And by the way, a lot of the time when I ask ChatGPT for help, it's because I don't know how to do what I'm trying to do. But sometimes it's because I could figure out how. It's just cheaper to let ChatGPT figure out how instead of spending my own mental energy to figure out how. Okay, so it's suggesting that we use a conditional. Interesting. Okay. I don't know if I love that, but I also don't know that I hate it. This controller is getting a little bit big. So maybe there's something we can do about that. But first, let's just get the thing working. Name clear filters. We can just call it clear. Why not? Okay. Now let's see what happens. And you know, this is really more than what's needed to make the test pass. We can just do that much. Okay. And then we can add another test for it clears, what is it called? Oh yeah, status. Clear status selection, but it is, oh shit, it's 10:01. All right. I'm in trouble. All right, I gotta go. Thanks guys for joining me, and I will see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.